Hi, guys, welcome back to Just Reading. And today we're gonna do our August wrap up. Okay, so book one in our discussion today, West Side Love Story by Priscilla Oliveras. This was a great read. It's like a take on the West Side Story, but the Broadway play. But there's no one dies in the end. Yay! The couple get their HEA. It's about two rival mariachi band families. I listened to it on audio and read it at the same time, which has become like one of my favorite ways to like consume my books. And I loved how the author talked and spoke about the culture without giving like a lot of explanations. You know what I mean? Like, I know nothing about mariachi, but I was so engrossed in the story as she was talking about like the costumes that they wear and the songs they sing. And she even made references to the Latin musical history, which I also know nothing about, but it was just so good to read and naturally caused me to like Google. So it was a really good story. There was really no spice. I mean, there was a lead up to kind of open door spice, but there was no open door spice. It was closed door. It was really cute, really swoony, and I didn't miss it. I did not miss any open door scenes or anything. So this one might be right up you guys' alley if you're looking for a great Latinx read and one with piney kind of love and feuding families, of course, but the feuds still last long and the families come together. It's like happy ever after. Yay. Okay, so the next one we have is The Bully. The next one we have is The Bully by Sophie Lark. And in my description, I said it's kind of like Hogwarts, but for mafia kids. Which I think, who did I hear? That didn't come from me. That came from another booktuber that I like to watch. Which one? I subscribe to like so many booktubers, and this was a reread for me. I had read this book about 2 years ago. I had to go back into my KU to double check. I had read this book 2 years ago, and I remember thinking I liked it, and it's from a whole series, and I don't recall reading any other. Oh no, I had read the first book and then I jumped to this book because the recommendations made it seem really interesting, and there was no regret when I read this. And what caused me to read this one was when I had read Vicious, which I talked about in a previous video, and that was a bully romance too, but I didn't really connect to the characters as much. It was a little hard to read some of the scenes where the male heroine and the female heroine were interacting in school, and it was a lot. And I remember thinking I had read another bully romance and it didn't feel, that almost triggering. And so I was like, let me go back and see if I can find it and reread it. And I did. I found it, I reread it, loved it. And I was like, why? I had to ask my question as I was annotating. Why does this one feel less of a bully romance, even though it was marketed as a bully romance comparatively to Vicious? And I was like, I know why. Because the heroine gave as good as she got. So even when the so-called bully was trying to cow her, almost break her, like she stood up to him, she gave as good as she got. And she didn't feel like a victim to me. I think that's what it is. She did not feel like a victim to me. And he ended up admiring her, like to the point where very quickly in the book, the relationship shifted. And I truly appreciated that most definitely. And then, of course, we had Vicious, which was another read, and we talked about that one, so I won't like go into too much detail with it. It was a good read. Um, I did enjoy it. It was just a little, it was just a little off-putting some parts. But again, I'm not a huge fan of bully romances. I literally have read just these two, so I'm not an expert or anything. But I liked the bully, and I loved the bully. And Vicious was okay. If I was gonna say if I had to rate them, but I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. Both books are comparably good on their own, depending on your taste. And then the next one we have that I read in the month of August was Love Radio. Now this one was interesting. I picked this up because of the cover. I picked this up because of the cover. The cover, as you can see, is gorgeous. Chef's kiss. And I was like, wow, this is a beautiful cover. It looks like it could be a great read. So I picked it up. And as I was reading it and listening to it, this was another one that I have the physical copy, but I also downloaded the audio on Audible. So I have the physical copy and I downloaded it on Audible and reading, listening, annotating. As you guys can see, I have annotated this one as well, which is fun for me. But so trigger warning has chronic illness rep of a family member. So that might be a little hard for some people, but also it's a high school romance. And I didn't realize that going into it. And at first I was like, oh, that's another one that I'm kind of like, now that I'm more mature, it's just a little hard sometimes reading about very young uh, characters, like main characters. But I stuck with it and I don't regret it. The author did a good job. What was her name? Ebony Liddell. She did a great job with this story. I love the musical representations. I love how she talks about. Sorry, guys. I love how she talks about like the guy's a DJ and the girl is an aspiring writer. Another trigger warning for a case of she wasn't molested or abused, but there was a circumstance was like a kind of tricky that might be triggering for some people. So yeah, go in, but it was nothing. Nothing happened on page. Let me put it that way. So you guys should be okay. Um, and they navigate, and sometimes it actually read older. Like as I was reading it, and I had to keep reminding myself at some points, like, oh wait, no, these are high school kids. Like the author wrote them older. I mean, they're high school seniors, so they're going into college. So that speaks to some maturity, of course. But it felt like it just read older at some points. And yeah, I did. I'd have to be like, wait, these are high school kids. They're not college age or about to graduate college. That's how it kind of read sometimes. This was another good read. No Spice. A very good family representation. Very good family representation, family love, support, great representation about like caring for someone with a chronic illness. Um, this was a great read. I really really did like this one, and like I said, I went into it not knowing anything about it, and I was very very pleasantly surprised. Let's see, my next one is a monster romance. Um, so we have a monster alien romance. It's another install from Regine Abel's Prime Meeting Agency series. It's actually a quick novella, very low angst, low spice, but some spice. Outer Space, Wonjin, who was from I Married a Birdman, and but from the species that was actually at war with the Birdman people. And so he gets his own story. And he falls in love with a tech genius, like human, and he himself is one. And it just follows like they're really nice, sweet, almost kind of cozy romance. But that was a quick read. I like this whole series. So when I saw that this was there, I was like, well, of course, must read. So this one was a nice read. Like it was really nice, really calm, really sweet. And give it a shot. Give the whole series a shot. It's pretty good if you like monster slash alien romances. Okay. And then we have Love Theoretically. So this one was interesting. Love Theoretically is it was quirky. As I was reading it, and this was like an impulse buy. I was out Target. It was Target, and I grabbed it and I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. It was quirky. It was fun. It was also very scientific-y, which is not a word. I know that, but it was very like the author, and you could tell whoever was writing it probably had like a science background because just the way they described things, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah. So whoever this is knows something about science, right? And so this one was nice. Pining Hero. It also kind of follows the trope of boyfriend's ex-girlfriend or boyfriend's girlfriend, um, and coworkers also, like office romance. Mm, Kind of enemies to lovers a little bit because there was like rival physicists and like think like Big Bang almost a little bit. That's what I thought of too when I was reading it, and how Sheldon feels like I'm gonna get it right, the theoretical physicist versus the is it the experimental physicist? I hope I got that right. But like they're battling it out to see like who's the one that has like the more practical like evidence of whatever they're studying, and it exists. You can tell I'm not into the science thing, but this read was a good read, and there was spice, but it's a slow burn. And the spice was so good when it finally like came up, and it wasn't overdone, it wasn't too much. I was so like almost emotionally raw too. Even though yes, it was opener, it was spice, it was, all the things, whatever, like it was like so emotional when I was reading it. I was like, wow. It was good. Because even through that scene, the characters were still connecting on such a visceral level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, give it a shot. I mean, if you've read this already, you already know because I'm kind of late to the party in this whole thing. And this is the first one I've read out of the series because it's a series of books that um, Ali Hazelwood has put together. So I'll probably pick up another one of them. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. It was pretty good. And then we have another series, okay, by a new to me author. So this one's multicultural romances, and Nia Arthurs is the author, and it follows like interracial relationships. So it's like black woman, white male, or Asian. She's got like a couple series. I think she's in like 7 or 8 books deep now. It's low spice, closed door scenes. The dads are like billionaires. Oh, and they're single dads too. However, that happens throughout the story, or before the story, I should say, because the heroines meet the dads as they're raising their kiddos. Um, on their own, and they're billionaires. They just happen to be fabulously wealthy. So the three I read was Bossy Romance, Cheeky Romance, and Prickly Romance, and they were all good. I enjoyed all of them. They were funny too. So this author has a great sense of humor, and she litters it all throughout her pages. And so I liked these ones. And I don't know if I'll pick up any more in the series. Whenever I start a series, no matter where I start it, beginning, middle, or the end, last book, I always try to get all the books and go through the whole series. We'll see if I do that for these ones. I might purchase them and just have them on my TBR and then just pick them up when I feel like it, because they're also these three that I read were no, I was gonna say they're low angst, but the most angsty one I have to say I felt was kind of Bossy Romance. Um, Out of all three, that one was kind of a little bit more angsty and a little bit more like a lot more going on. Cheeky Romance and Prickly Romance were low angst, like it just seemed to come together a little bit faster. But they were all good. They're all good. But yeah, so I might just add it to my TBR and then see, but we'll see. But so far, I don't really have any intention of picking up the. You know what? Let me not even say that because I'm such a mood reader. It's not even funny. Let me not say that. I like this author. I like this series. I'll probably end up reading the rest of them at some point, and I'll just keep you posted. I'll just keep you posted because they're all on KU, so it's not like a hardship. And I'm actually thinking of purchasing the physical copies and adding them to my library. I am looking for bookshelves, guys. Like I gave away my old bookshelves, and I got, as you can see, bookshelf behind me. But I'm looking for like really good bookshelves. Okay. Anyway, sidebar. Sorry, rambly. I'm gonna reel it back in. And that's actually the end of my August TBR wrap. Okay. So I'll see you next time. We're going to keep talking. And all right, guys. So as always, just remember, keep on reading. And until next time, be safe out there and enjoy all the books you can. Bye now.